So, special session in Maryland, they're going to okay a tax hike is the word on those who make over $100,000 a year. The comptroller of the state of Maryland, Peter Franchot, insists now, who has written a letter to lawmakers in Annapolis saying this is a bad idea. Mr. Comptroller, good morning. Thanks for joining us. And why did you write that letter? What exactly did it say?
Nice to hear your voice, Brian, and Brian Wilson and Brian Neiman. Hello to both of you. Brian Wilson, I followed you for years on whatever that other station you were on. But
yeah, Fox News and over Channel 5. That's right. I interviewed you many times when I worked at Channel 5.
It's good stuff. Here's the problem. I'm the chief fiscal officer of the state, and I simply wrote a letter to the leadership saying that I'm really tired of all of the fiscal policies being politicized. The Democrats are in favor of just indiscriminate tax increases. They're my party, but the Republicans are in favor of these thoughtless cuts to education and public safety and health care. And the public, understandably, is frustrated. They say, why can't everybody get together and just roll up your sleeves and do the kind of cost savings and efficiencies and use of technology that the private sector does? Why don't you learn to live within your budget like Maryland families? So I made the following points. Number one, we did a big tax increase 5 years ago to get rid of the structural deficit. It has proved to be a failure. We expanded gambling to fund education. That's proven to be a failure. We've upset the business community in the state because we've created a very uncertain environment as far as tax increases and tax policy. And these tax increases that are being described as on the well-to-do, well, $100,000 in our area, in the Washington area, is middle-class income. And when we begin to tax that, we're taking that money out of their pockets, and they have less money to spend on pizza at the store, in their normal economic activity. And in my view as the chief fiscal officer, that kind of income tax increase will damage the economic recovery.
You said in the letter that lawmakers face, and this is a direct quote, a patently false choice between destructive tax increases and thoughtless cuts to education, health care, and law enforcement. And I just wonder why it is the instinct in Annapolis is always to raise taxes and never to cut budgets.
Well, and to give them credit, there are some reductions in their view in Annapolis, but you're absolutely right. My party, which dominates the Annapolis scene, we can't blame the Republicans for any problems down there like our Democratic counterparts can do in Washington, because we have very few Republicans in Annapolis. But the default button for them is to raise taxes to take care of any deficit. And most Democrats around the state try to be loyal and want to be supportive of their party, but they're becoming very frustrated with this long list of almost indiscriminate tax increases that we're faced with on an annual basis. And I simply wrote the letter in order to blow the whistle and say, look, from a progressive standpoint, I'm a Democrat, I'm proud to be a Democrat, but this is unsustainable what we're doing currently on an annual basis, because perhaps in a good economy, a rising stock market, and where housing prices have stabilized and where employment is okay, you can get away with that, but not now when we're in a really tough situation. People are struggling, they're pulling back on their spending, and we are a consumer-driven economy. 70% of our economy is based upon consumer spending, and right now consumers are saying we don't want to spend because we're not sure about the direction of the economy.
You talked about the businesses earlier, and I want to get your point of view from the guy who looks at numbers on a regular basis and revenues as well. Are we seeing businesses leave the state? Are we seeing business owners say, you know what, enough's enough around here, I'm going to get out?
We have strong economic bones in Maryland. We're a great state to live and have a business and bring up your family, but we have a very bad business reputation because of this uncertainty in taxes that I mentioned. Every year the bar moves, and as a result, we have very few large businesses that are located in Maryland. Unlike Virginia and unlike other states, we had, even though we're doing relatively well because of the federal government, we were almost dead last in the country last year in private sector wage growth.
Wow.
We need over 200,000 jobs in Maryland as we speak just to get back to normal employment. We're far behind other states on that front. On houses, our houses have lost a third of their value. They've gone from 323,000 to 225,000 in the recession. And as everyone knows, homes are the biggest source of wealth and equity for most of the middle-class families. So it's not surprising that consumers are pessimistic and are pulling in their horns. It's not the end of the world. There's going to be a happy ending to the story because the economy is going to turn. All I'm suggesting for the next several years is take a break from tax increases and do the kind of cost savings and efficiencies that private sector and also families, frankly, have been doing for the last few years, and Annapolis has not been doing.
We're talking to Maryland Comptroller Peter Franchot, who's written a letter to the legislature saying we don't necessarily need to be raising these taxes while you're in special session right now. Okay, look, I followed your career for many, many years. I came to town in 86, and you moved to the state legislature in 87. I don't recall over the years that you had a particular reputation as being a budget hawk. But in recent years, you have become that one voice in the state of Maryland that says, excuse me, we're really wasting a lot of money here. What changed you, or what happened along the way that you became that way?
Well, a lot of people come up to me and say, gee, your fiscal conservatism contrasts with your legislative career, but for 6 years, I've been lucky enough to be the comptroller, and I see the economic data every day. I get out and speak to Maryland businesses. I represent the whole state, not just a one legislative district in Montgomery County. So have I changed my view? Yes. And should we all change our view? Absolutely. I mean, this recession is very persistent, very stubborn. And
well, maybe you should drag the governor with you.
We need to make adjustments. Some people come up and say, gee, are you sincere? Sincerity is not the issue. The issue is, are we going to make the kinds of adjustments everybody else is, or are we simply going to sit back and say we're going to have more government spending, more government borrowing, and more indiscriminate tax increases to pay for that? I would suggest that we need to do a little. Obviously, I'm in favor of government investment, but not the kind of jailbreak that we're seeing right now in Annapolis.
All right. I was going to say, maybe perhaps you should take the governor with you when you go out and you talk to the people and you talk to business owners. That might be helpful, though I would think as the governor he would want to do that himself.
Well, we do have a problem with businesses locating in Maryland. You mentioned our competition with our state, our neighbors in Virginia. We were almost dead last in private sector wage growth last year. Virginia was number 5th in the country.
So we're ripe to turn it around then, if somehow the mindset could change in Annapolis.
Absolutely. That's what's so appealing. We have such a wonderful state, and if we just change the prism a little bit and say, let's take a 2-year timeout from tax increases, let's honestly balance the state budget, let's have a much more of a customer service approach to the private sector from government, have government be a constructive partner, but not the be-all and end-all. And then finally, let's have financial literacy taught in all our schools.
Yes. All right.
So they know a budget, and credit, and debt, et cetera. But you're right. It's absolutely changeable with a little bit of different leadership.
All right. Maryland Comptroller Peter Franchot, always good to talk to you. Thanks.